What's up, internet? My name's Ori. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button. You like this video, hit that like button, hit that notification bell. You'll never miss a video. You'll never miss a stream. Today we're going over Survivor Season 44, episode number 11. There was some good, there was some bad, there was way too much fluff in there, but some exciting things that happened towards the end. Before we jump into the episode, I do just want to kind of promote that I've been streaming the episodes over on Kick. It's been a fun time getting to watch it along with you guys over there. So make sure you check out the links to that in the description down below. There's a pinned comment down there as well. We've been streaming every episodes, but also tomorrow is my birthday. So we will be live on Twitch and Kick doing a 12-hour birthday celebration. I say tomorrow because as I'm recording this, it's after the episode, but you actually might see this on the day of. So around 4 p.m. Eastern, I will be live. We'll be hanging out, playing some games, doing some stuff until it leads up to the Big Brother Canada finale. So we'll be watching that exclusively over on Kick, but Twitch and Kick will be going for most of the 12-hour stream. So make sure you come on and hang out. There's going to be a crazy hot sauce challenge. If anybody's ever watched Hot Ones, I've got the last dab. We're going to be doing some of those. So make sure you come and hang out if you want. Links are in that description, pinned comment down there. But let's kind of jump into the episode. What happened? We started with the fallout from the Franny vote. Obviously, Carolyn was going to be very upset to be left out of this vote, not only because it had Jam Jam and Carson not trusting her enough that she would vote for Franny to go, and that kind of hurt her feelings that they would keep her out of that, but also that Franny was someone she was getting close to in the game, so it wasn't someone that was easy for her to see leave. We also saw that Danny was, questioning who was the vote for him. A lot of us were all very confused on who would have voted for him when it was first revealed that he got a vote, and for it to be Heidi in the end, that was really interesting. And she was the rogue vote, but she denied it all the way, even later when Jam Jam actually told Danny, he's like, it was Heidi, right? And he's like, oh, was it? And he confronts her directly with it, being like, even if it was you, I would still work with you. You can tell me. I won't be mad. And she's like, no, it wasn't me. It felt like the worst lying in the world. I think they just edited it that way to make it look worse. But he ends up believing her. We then get a bunch of bonding. They're doing meditation on the beach. And later on, we saw them just laying out on the beach. They were finding crab shells and stuff. It was kind of a fun little segment with Carolyn. But there was way too much fluff here in the middle. And especially with the announcement that next season, there will be 90-minute episodes for each one. Which normally we'd be like, yeah, great, more Survivor. But it's going to be filled with so much of this filler type things that we don't really need. If it was all going to be game and stuff like that, yeah, that'd be exciting. But I feel like these 90-minute episodes are just going to be a real drag if they're filled with all of this filler. There were multiple times in this episode where it was like, okay, let's get on with it already. It could have been a half-hour episode and it would have been much better. But yeah, it was too much for me. We did get a little bit of Tika kind of talking again, Jam Jam, Carson, and Carolyn. It seems like Carolyn is back on board. She got over the vote and not being included in the Franny vote. And they're going to stick to their final 3 plans. And it really seems like they kind of want to bring Danny in. At least Jam Jam wants to bring Danny in because he feels like Danny will vote with them no matter what. Carolyn, though, continues to push that Danny is the biggest threat still out there. Maybe Lauren as well. But yeah, those are the names that were kind of thrown out by them. Meanwhile, Jam Jam's name is being thrown out by Danny, Lauren, Jamie, and Heidi. It seems like the 4 of them want to work together to break up this Tika 3, which is becoming a very powerful majority in the tribe, especially if they get to final 6. They have half the votes, meaning they would control a lot of what's going to happen. So they were talking about trying to break that up, Jam Jam being the one that would be kind of the main target. Carson would follow that. But they do talk about how everyone loves Jam Jam, and how it would be hard to write his name down. Danny's like giving them this look like, what do you mean hard? It's a game. You gotta do it. So it would going to be interesting to see what happens with the immunity challenge, which was a classic Survivor challenge. The one where they're underneath a cage and the tides are coming in. You kind of have to hold your breath as the tide rises and you get less and less room underneath that cage. We quickly saw Lauren struggling with this. She was having almost panic attacks. The water was very cold. She couldn't even answer a question from Jeff very easily, so she was having a rough time. She was the first one out, followed shortly by Jamie. After that, kind of the dominoes fell until we were left with Heidi, Danny, and Jam Jam. Danny ends up pulling out of it. He wasn't able to stick it out. And then it's Jam Jam and Heidi. When it's Jam Jam who wins immunity, he killed this so much that it took Danny jumping into the water to tell him that it was over. Like, Jam Jam could have stayed there for probably another hour. It seemed like it was crazy how well he did. And especially when he needed it the most, with his name being thrown out there, it was very likely that if he didn't win immunity, his was the one that was on the chopping block. So we get back to camp and the four kind of all agree Carson is the vote, right? He's very much a threat. It breaks up this Tika, 3, and we don't have to worry about that going forward. And then it's kind of a 2-2-2 scenario where there's a little bit more play in how the votes can go. So it seemed like they were all on board. We did get one little clip where Jamie and Lauren, they were kind of by the well. Seemed like Lauren was kind of washing her hair with Jamie kind of pouring the water over her. And they were talking about how, like, it just made sense. Tika has the numbers. Let's get rid of one of them. But they also say how they would trust Carson more than Danny. So there was that little bit of sliver of doubt as we were heading into it. Carolyn, though, does a great job of sniffing this out. She could feel that, people were lying and they were talking about splitting votes here and there, but she wasn't buying it. She really felt like they were going to vote Carson. And ends up even telling him about her idol and that, she's most likely going to use it. She's just worried that if Danny has an idol, she plays the idol on Carson and then Danny plays the idol on himself. And then they're stuck with, one vote going on her somehow, which could have been a worry, right? I guess they could have technically split the votes if they went the four of them together. It could have been, 3 on Carson, 1 on Carolyn, just in case of a hidden immunity idol. But yeah, it was definitely a worry that she had. Eventually, though, we get to tribal, and it was fun at the start. It dragged on a little bit too long as Carson started telling, like, oh, it's a struggle and this and that. That was too much. But before that, we did get a lot of back and forth between Carolyn and Danny and Lauren and how annoyed she was getting with them and some of their answers to Jeff. But then during the vote, Carolyn took forever. She was counting on her fingers, like 2 votes here and there's 2 votes here. And I really wasn't sure what she was debating in her head because it seemed like, well, the 4 of them were going to be voting for Carson, and the 3 Tika members, Jam Jam, Carson, and Carolyn, would have to vote for either Heidi or Danny, and then she would play her idol, saving Carson. That seemed like how it was going to go. So she takes forever with the vote. She eventually comes back. Jeff asks about any advantages, and she does play her idol for Carson. Once the votes are read, though, there were only 2 votes for Carson, 2 votes for Heidi, and 3 votes for Danny. So she actually didn't even need to play her idol here. It was kind of actually burned. But you just have to play your idol in that situation. It seems like they had some kind of deal where they went and talked to Jamie and Lauren, and they were like, hey, we're going to vote Heidi. You guys should vote Heidi too. And then they all kind of just jumped on board with that. So at least they were splitting the votes that way. And yeah, I guess what she was counting in her head and kind of with her fingers was if there were 2 votes for Danny, 2 votes for Carson, or 2 votes for Heidi, then she could vote for Lauren and it would be tied, and maybe she wouldn't have to use her idol. But even then, again, you can't trust that Lauren or Jamie were 100% going to do what they told you. You kind of had to play your idol in that situation. But it really kind of showed to me, again, Carolyn is smart in this game. She's a bit of a wild card. She's a bit out there and unique and just wild with a lot of the way she acts and talks. But she knows what she's doing, and she doesn't seem to get the respect in the game that she really kind of deserves. It doesn't seem like anyone respects her game at all, but this was a huge move for her to be able to use that idol and to be able to be part of sending Danny out. It doesn't necessarily, she didn't need to, right? She didn't need to play that idol. But yeah, it was definitely a big move for her in this game. What did you guys think of the episode? Did you, like me, think there was a little bit too much of that fluff in there? But overall, I really kind of liked the twists and turns that kind of went on with it. Let me know in those comments down below. Also, again, if you are new here, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, hit that notification bell, so you never miss a video, you never miss a stream. Remember, we are doing Ori-Palooza tomorrow, so come on and check that out. Links to all of my socials in the description down below. You can check out the Kick, Twitch, Twitter, and Discord, probably the best way to keep up with everything going on. Thank you guys again so much for watching, and I will see you next time.